Hello everyone, welcome back to Think Turkey, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about Turkey versus Malaysia. So what are the main pros and cons as an expat to choose Turkey or Malaysia? These are the two main countries that we're going to be talking about today. So first of all, Turkey is, location wise, let's talk about Malaysia location wise and Turkey. In terms of flight times, definitely, I would say Turkey is more centrally located. So it's easier to fly in from, whether it's from UK, US, Canada, Dubai, South Asia. So all these countries, you can easily fly into Istanbul. From UK, it's just 4 hours. From Toronto, 10 hours. Versus if you're going to Malaysia from UK, it's 13 hours. And from Canada, it's like 22 hours. It's almost double the time. So it's quite a big difference. Even from Dubai, it's like 10 hours to Malaysia versus to Istanbul, it's just 4 to 5 hours. So that's why I would say location-wise, Turkey is situated much better, much more centrally. So you're easily able to access different parts of the world. So this point goes to Malaysia. So next point would be the weather. The weather is, I would say, if you take a look at the weather, Malaysia, it rains a lot, but it is quite decent weather in terms of you're not really getting cold. It's more of a flip-flop sort of raincoat on and maybe just t-shirt weather, which is great if you're into if you're not bothered by the rain too much and slight humidity. But if you're more of like a person like me, which likes the 4 seasons atmosphere, not too cold, but having multiple seasons with less extreme weather. So again, Mediterranean climate, of course, is one of the best. And then Istanbul has a little bit more cold, but towards Antalya, Fethiye, these areas are very beautiful climate. So this point, I would definitely say Turkey takes that. Not being biased, let's go on to communication. So language-wise, again, Turkey is definitely the best. No, I'm joking. So Turkey. Okay, so Turkey, of course, has a language barrier for expats, for foreigners who want to come and live here with their families. They do need to learn Turkish, or at least a little bit of enough to get by. Versus in Malaysia, it's everybody speaks pretty much English there as well as a second language. So for that purposes, it's a lot easier to assimilate and to kind of live in Malaysia in terms of the communication language part. Turkey is working on it, but I mean, it's still definitely a lot of people do complain that it's hard to kind of maneuver around. But if you're okay with languages, then you can get by. Bir çay alabilir miyim? Bir çay daha alayım, evet. Sağ olun. Teşekkürler. So communication goes to Turkey. Communication goes to Malaysia. And now we have food. Now food, I can't say anything. Pretty much both have excellent food. Malaysian food is a little bit spicy. Turkish food is like Mediterranean, moderate. They have spicy here as well. Malaysian has a mix of different cuisines. Here it's like a little bit mixed as well. But I mean, both, I would say in this case, it has to be a tie. I can't say, I enjoy both. Next point is healthcare, number 5. So basically healthcare, Turkey, we all know it's famous for, hair transplants, dental, basically like health tourism is big in Turkey. I mean, Malaysia, it's not so much as far as I've heard, but Malaysia, people that have lived there have told me that Malaysia is great for healthcare. So they have very high quality healthcare facilities, doctors are very well trained. And I haven't heard anything wrong about healthcare, so I would say this is a tie. Number 6 is education. Education, Turkey has great universities. There are English-speaking universities here. There are some, of course, many of them are Turkish, but there are many English-speaking universities, English-speaking programs here. If you know where to look, you can find them quite easily. The high schools and the K-12 is hard to find completely English, like 100% English. You would have to kind of settle for a little bit of a mix of both. So this is where I would say Malaysia exceeds that bar and has a great education system. And of course, many people even prefer, especially from Gulf countries, they used to send to Malaysia to study for their kids because at that time they didn't have many universities for expats in the Gulf. So this, I would say, Malaysia, in terms of K-12, kind of, it takes that point, I would say. So Malaysia takes the education point. So number 7 is basically the roads and walkability, kind of the infrastructure when you're walking around, driving around. Driving wise, it's pretty much a tie from what I've spoken to people that have moved there and that are living there and so on, and that have visited Turkey for periods of time, and they've told me about the roads. I would say the driving wise is pretty much a tie. The only issue is in Malaysia is walking like sidewalks, like, you know, the pedestrian walkways are an issue, as people have complained about this, that there's not enough space, or the walkways are very thin, or there are no walkways and no sidewalks. So this can be an issue, and you know, they have to kind of dodge cars, and so it's not very walk friendly as far as I've heard. I mean, please do comment in below if you feel differently, and if you know, you have visited Malaysia in depth and you felt differently. But from the insights that I have gotten is that Malaysia is not very good for walking. And Turkey, as we all know, it's like, you know, it's great for walking. Of course, we have some hills and stuff like that in Istanbul. But if you're walking in flat areas, you have sidewalks, and there's just no issue with that. So this, I would give it to Turkey in terms of roads and walkability and so on. Number 8 is property, and you know, when I talk about real estate, I talk about like the prices and the appreciation. So in terms of prices, I would say both are pretty much similar. From my understanding is that, you know, 1 to 2 bedroom you can pretty much get for around $100,000, 120, 125, roughly in that range. I think in Malaysia you can pretty much get those prices too, if I'm not mistaken. And the only thing is the rent is lower in Malaysia. So if you're looking to invest for rental returns, Turkey would be much better for that, because I have spoken to investors who have properties in Malaysia for long periods, and the appreciation is also very bad. So over 10 years period, 10 plus years, there was like basically, you know, no appreciation. So the other thing is the quality of the buildings itself is not very well maintained. Like from what I've heard from people who have toured around Malaysia and looked at properties and so on, they've noticed that even 4, 5, 6, 7 years old buildings are looking very deteriorated. So this was an issue that was mentioned in my research for properties. So I would say, you know, Turkey has a much more advantage in terms of appreciation, has a big population location wise, you know, so in that sense I would give this point to Turkey. Lastly, we're talking about residency and citizenship. So citizenship right off the bat, I mean, Turkey takes the point because there is no citizenship option for Malaysia. Even if you live there for, you know, 50, 60, 100 years, whatever, but you cannot get the citizenship, which is quite sad, because it's such a great place, but you can't get the citizenship there. Turkey, of course, you know that there is a 400K citizenship program where you can invest, buy real estate, and you can buy multiple properties and you can get the citizenship. So this is good for people who are looking to move their families or live here, or even just have a second passport and have that plan B. So this is where you could come and actually be like pretty much a citizen. We can be a local. So there will be no difference between you and a person who is like from Turkey, like, you know, who's a local person here. So this is the equality level, which I really like, is that, you know, there's no second standard or anything like that. You know, you have that stability, peace of mind inside. And not only that, not only through this property, you can even get it through, if you can get the residency option, and you can naturalize into a citizen. So after 5 years of living here with that, you can become a citizen too. So this is the other advantage that you have here. In terms of residency, it's 200K in Turkey. And in Malaysia, it's like, you know, they have a different scheme where you deposit $150,000 in the bank. They have basically my Malaysia, you know, Malaysia is a second home, so MM2H program, and then they have like, you know, silver, gold, platinum. They're different like tiers. I'm talking about like the, you know, most let's say accessible tier, the first tier, which gives you 5 years and plus 5 years, a total 10 years of renewable, you know, 5 plus 5. And then you have to deposit 150K in the bank. Half of that you can use to buy a property, and buying a property is mandatory. And the property you need to buy is about 135K, roughly, because it's in ringgit, like 600K, around that much. So in total, you're spending like, you know, around 220, 225, 230, let's say under, just below 250K, like 240, let's say, with the fees and everything. So this is what you're spending to get your residency, and which is going to last you 5 plus 5. So after 5 years, you renew it, and then it's 10 years, and that's the max. After 10 years, you need to restart the program. You need to reapply as a brand new applicant, which is kind of worrying because, you know, what if the program is not there? What if they change the requirements? What if you don't have the funds or whatever, your condition is not the same? So this kind of puts a really big question mark, you know, for somebody who's looking to move there and shift their entire, like, in, you know, you can't really make very long, you know, plans with that. So, you know, because 10 years, what's going to happen after my kids have been studying here, living here? Can we not live here anymore? We have to jump, like, pack up and leave after that. So this is where Turkey has a much better option where you can, you know, continue to stay here and you can become a citizen, you know, eventually. Even if you don't go for the citizenship program, you go to the residency program, you can eventually naturalize into a citizen as well. So this point again goes to Turkey because of the residency and citizenship program. So thank you so much for watching. This is the end of the video. Now again, if you found this to be useful, do click like and, you know, comment below if you have further questions, comments. I might have said something wrong. And I'm going to be making more comparison videos like this, you know, why I chose Turkey versus XYZ. I have lived in multiple countries before, so I'm going to be releasing that, and I'm going to be comparing those different countries to Turkey to give you better insight as to why I chose Turkey as my new home. All right, take care. See you next time.